Welcome to the Global Classroom, the first of a series of events bringing together children from around the globe in a unique interactive broadcast with leading figures from across the world. This event comes to you in partnership with Scarisbrick Hall and the World Health Organization with Unicef and is supported by the Independent Schools Association and Microsoft Teams. We have a passion to make sure that the voice of every child is heard and that every child will gain a spirit of exploration and global understanding. Throughout these sessions, we'll be looking at the aspects of a healthy mind, healthy body, and having a global heart, where we take action and show compassion and understanding to all. In this first session, we focus on our global response and understanding of the COVID-19 crisis on this World Hand Hygiene Day. First, I want to hand over to my co-host and good friend, Lord Michael Hastings of Scarisbrick. He's somewhere in London. Michael, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear, and it's remarkable to see my glorious old school looking so shiny. Thank you very much, Jeff, and welcome to everybody who's on this conversation from around the world. And it's a really blessed honor for me to have a short conversation with my dear friend Henrietta Fore. I have the joy of being a vice president of Unicef in the UK, but Henrietta is the executive director of Unicef around the world. And we've known each other for decades, so many, many contacts in business and in public life. So, Henrietta, welcome to this global conversation with the world's children. Just tell us a little bit about what Unicef does, and what you do, and how you think the global classroom will help.
Well, thank you very much, Michael, and thank you, Jeff, also. And a very warm hello to all the young people and the children that are joining you and us today. Well, I'm very proud to be the executive director of Unicef, which is the United Nations agency that was established to protect children's rights around the world, particularly for the most vulnerable children. We work in more than 190 countries and territories, so it's almost everyone in the world. And we provide everything from healthcare to nutrition, to ensuring the children have access to safe water and sanitation.
Henrietta, thank you. That's such a brilliant and comprehensive answer. Let me just ask you one further thing, which is we've got the voices of children from all over the world coming into this conversation. And how does UNICEF support the voices of the children of the world?
Yes, so Michael, that's a really good question. So we feel that children and youth are experts in their own lives. So we don't speak for you. You're much better at speaking up for yourselves and demanding change, imagining the future that you want, and convincing others, all of us, to join your cause. So we try to take a back seat, create a space for your voices to be heard.
Henrietta, that is just fantastic. And it's a phenomenally comprehensive program, and you are by far the best leader to be able to enable the voices of children to speak for themselves. Thank you so much for that, and stay well, stay healthy. I'm going to go to the first of our pupils who's with us, a young person from Nepal. This is a wonderful young person called Shamik Shaya. I'm going to bring her online, and she has some questions to ask you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Samisha Lamsal and I'm from Nepal. I'm 15 years old and I'm reading in Standard 10. My question is for Henrietta H. Force, and the question goes like this. Staying between the four walls of our house for growing children like us is very challenging. So how can we be psychologically fit during the lockdown, and what should the authority concerned figures do to make us away from mood swings or stress or anxiety after the lockdown?
Henrietta, there for you.
Thank you very much for thinking about this issue. So let me start by saying to each and every one of you that it's normal to feel sad, stressed, or angry at a time like this. But my message to you is, whether you're in Nepal or elsewhere around the world, that you're not alone. You and we will find a way through this with the help of your friends, your families, and your teachers. Focus on you. Maybe you wanted to start a new book or practice a musical instrument or learn to cook or to sew. Now is the time to do that. It's a great way to look after yourselves.
Thank you, Shamik. Thank you, and thank you, Henrietta, for that answer. So let's go now to the UK, to Scarisbrick Hall, to Matthew.
Hello, Henrietta. My name is Robert from Scarisbrick Hall School, and on behalf of my whole school, I would like to say thank you for all of the work that Unicef does. Although it has been very hard recently under lockdown, do you feel that the world will emerge stronger and more unified?
So thank you for that question. I do think that we can emerge stronger and more unified. What if we tried connecting every school and every learner to the internet so they could learn as you are learning? And what if we did this in the next 3 years? And what if you all in the global classroom helped us?
Well, that's a great ambition, Henrietta. Thank you for setting that out. And I'm sure that the Independent Schools Association and Scarisbrick will take up the baton to fight for that one. Thank you. Thank you very much, Henrietta, for your wisdom and your insights and your gentle spirit and your effective leadership. And thank you so much indeed to Matthew and Shamik Shah for their questions. And we're going to move away now. Thanking you so much, Henrietta. We're going to move away to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, where Dr. Carol O'Donnell and Dr. Brian Mandel will take us through some of the truth facts about COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lord Hastings, for inviting the Smithsonian to be a part of this important global event. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be with you today. My name's Carol O'Donnell, and I'm the director or head of what's called the Smithsonian Science Education Center, and I work in Washington, D.C. in the U.S. I'm also an educator, and I've been an educator since 1983, so that's 37 years of being in the classroom. My colleague Brian is also an educator, and he spent his career teaching students who are 12 to 13 years old. So we took the questions that you were asking us about COVID-19, and we wrote a set of hands-on activities that you could do at home with very simple materials. So now Brian's going to introduce you to one of the many questions that we've heard from students your age. And he'll share an example hands-on activity with you that you can do at home to discover the answers to the questions about COVID-19 for yourself. Brian?
Absolutely. Thanks, Carol. Hi, everybody. My name is Brian. Have you heard people talking on TV or in your home about social distancing, or what we prefer to call physical distancing? If so, you may have wondered, how can keeping distance from others help? Well, COVID-19 is spread through respiratory droplets. You may be asking yourself, what is a respiratory droplet? Try this. Blow a long, slow breath into a dry cup, glass, or onto a mirror, just like this. Observe and feel the inside of the cup. What do you notice? You may notice that it actually feels a little bit wet. This is one example of a respiratory droplet. They are very small drops of fluid that come from the lungs, nose, and mouth when you breathe or talk. When you cough or sneeze, droplets can come out of your body. If you are ill with COVID-19, even if you don't have symptoms, these droplets can spread the virus through the air to someone who is near you, and this is called direct contact. But how close does a person have to be for respiratory droplets to reach them? Let's try something else. Let's create a model of respiratory droplets to show how far they can move through the air. Take a bowl, just like this, fill it up with a little bit of water. Stand one step away from a blank wall. That's about 1/2 meter. We're going to model the droplets leaving your mouth when you cough by flicking the water onto the wall, just like this. After you do that, count up the number of drops on the wall. Now you're going to take another step back. Now you're about 1 meter away from the wall and repeat that step. Put your fingers into the bowl and flick it just once against the wall. Count up the number of droplets on the wall. Keep doing this at different lengths. What is the farthest distance you can stand before the droplets do not reach the wall? Remember, the water is simulating potentially infected respiratory droplets that leave the body when you cough, sneeze, talk, or breathe. Considering your observations of this model, why is it important to stay 2 meters away from others during a pandemic like COVID-19? Physical distancing helps protect yourself and others. But don't take my word for it. Test it for yourself. But be careful. Even if you physically distance yourself from others, the virus can also be spread through indirect contact. This is what happens when your respiratory droplets land on objects like a table, a doorknob, the wall, or even a football. The COVID-19 virus could remain there for some time, sometimes a few hours, sometimes a lot longer. If someone touches that object, then touches their mouth, their nose, or their eyes, the virus can get into their body. This is why our young friend from Uganda said it was so important to wash your hands often. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Brian. I hope you're able to try the activities that Brian just showed you at home, either by yourself or with someone who lives with you. Remember what Brian said, stand at least 2 meters or 6 feet away from other people that you don't know. Cover your mouth or your nose and wash your hands. And as our good friend and colleague, Dr. Swaminathan would say, scientists and teachers can tell you the answers to questions that you have about COVID-19, but the best way for you to learn is by also doing and discovering the answers for yourselves. So take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay informed.
Thank you very much, Carol and Brian, for an informative, really hands-on and very practical explanation about how to approach this and understand it. I'll certainly try it at home, and the walls might get a bit wet, but it would be certainly wonderful to try it at home for all of you. Thank you very much for that. Let's move on now on our journey. I'm really privileged to introduce you now a real figurehead at the time, somebody who's supporting the nations and the response to this. It's Dr. Tedros, Director General of the World Health Organization, and he's very, passionate about what's going on here. And we see him on the TV all the time. Dr. Tedros, are you here in the global classroom right now? Can we speak to you?
Yes, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing us all together. I was told that there are more than 14,000 children online. This is really amazing. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for being here. We are so privileged here. We've gone to Nepal, we've gone to the United Kingdom, and right now I'm going to bring in a child from New York City, and we know New York's been dealing with a lot of issues in New York City right now. And hopefully in a second, our first question for you today is going to come from New York City, from Layla. Layla, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
You're live.
Hello, Dr. Tedros. It's such a privilege to have you here with us today. My name is Layla, and I am a high school student at the Brearley School in New York City, which, as you know, as an epicenter of the virus, has been hit exceptionally hard by this crisis. And so my question for you is, what kind of things do you normally do as Director General of the World Health Organization?
Thank you, Layla. As Director General, my job focused on the missions of the organization. The mission of the organization is to promote health, keep the world safe, and serve the vulnerable. But at this time, as you know, because of the pandemic, you said, we're focused more on COVID, and that's one of our responsibility to help the world prepare and also to respond to outbreaks, epidemics, and pandemics. And now throughout the world, we're trying to help countries in the fight against COVID.
Dr. Tedros, thank you for that response. It's wonderful to hear you again. Our next question, we're going to go across now to Washington area, and I've got Noah on standby. Now, Noah, I do know is also looking forward to later on, because I think your mother is also a big fan of Samuel Eto'o as well, Noah. So off you go, Noah. Far away.
Okay. Hello, Dr. Tedros. My name is Noah, and I live in Virginia in the United States. My family is originally from Cameroon. Thank you so much for taking my question. How can I, as an individual, make a difference in the fight against COVID-19?
Thank you, Noah. That's a very, very good question, and I have been to your beautiful country, by the way, Cameroon. There is a lot you can do for your own health, your families, and the people closest to you. By keeping yourself safe, you can protect others. And there are 5 important ways to protect your health. 1, clean your hands well with soap and water or an alcohol-based rub. And second, cover your nose and mouth when you sneeze and cough. Third, avoid touching your face, eyes, nose, or mouth. And number four, keep at least one more distance between yourself and others. And number five, know what the symptoms are: fever, dry cough, and difficulty breathing. If you feel sick, tell your mom or dad or another adult. And WHO, Unicef, and other partners have released a storybook, as you may know, called My Hero Is You, for younger children in the room, which explains how you can protect yourselves, your families, and friends from coronavirus, and give some ideas on managing difficult emotions. You can download the book from the WHO website, and I'd like to invite you to do that. Noah, again, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros. Noah, what a wonderful question, so well read. Thank you very much for that as well. Now let's travel to a different area of the world. We're going to go up sort of the northern area now towards Finland. I'm going to try and invite Muna into the global classroom. Muna, how are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm really fine. Hello, Dr. Tedros. I'm Mona from Finland, and I want to thank you for taking my question also. And my question for you is, why is hand washing so important to stop the virus?
Thank you, Mona, and thank you for this very important question, and very timely, because today, as I said earlier, is in fact World Hand Hygiene Day. So it's a great day to practice cleaning your hands. Washing them regularly using soap and alcohol-based rub is one of the best ways to keep them clean and to protect ourselves. You should clean your hands for at least 40 seconds with soap and warm water, or for 20 to 30 seconds with an alcohol-based rub. Kiitos again, Muna. Kiitos, and I have been to your beautiful country, Finland, also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros, and thank you for the language there as well. Wonderful link up to go through. I think our next question, we're going to go across to France. And I'm going to say, first of all, if I can do my best French, I'm going to say, bonjour Louise, ça va en France?
Oui. Bonjour, Dr. Tedros, je m'appelle Louise, j'ai 10 ans et j'habite à Chemillé dans l'ouest de la France. Ma question est-ce que le virus peut circuler dans l'eau? Si oui, est-ce qu'il peut contaminer les poissons?
Okay, Dr. Tedros, so what's the translation for you there running through? So she's asking, Louise is asking you, does the virus circulate in water? And you know, if it did, would it kill the fish?
Merci beaucoup, Louis. Thank you for that very interesting question. The virus does not circulate in water, and we have not found any evidence that it affects fish. I hope that answers your question. Merci beaucoup again, Louis.
Merci, au revoir.
Merci, Louis. Très bien.
Au revoir, bientôt.
Wonderful stuff. Okay, so we've had quite a few questions now from France, from Finland, from America going around, from New York as well, from Nepal, and from the UK. And I think in a second now, we'll be going to a question in Cambodia. That's in Churung School in Cambodia. And that's the United World School. So if we can hear possibly now from the pupil there, who's Sarah.
Sarah រៀននៅថ្នាក់ទី 4 នៅសាលាបឋមសិក្សាជ្រុងសាលារៀនខ្ញុំបានផ្អាកពីការរៀនអស់មួយរយៈហើយខ្ញុំនិងមិត្តភ័ក្តិរបស់ខ្ញុំបានរៀននៅផ្ទះយើងរៀនពីរបៀបលាងដៃនិងយល់ដឹងពីជំងឺ COVID-19 តើលោកអាចប្រាប់យើងខ្ញុំបានទេថាមានអ្វីកើតឡើងចំពោះក្មេងៗនៅប្រទេសផ្សេងៗទៀត
So Dr. Tedros, Sarath is asking you here that he's saying his school is closed at the moment and his friends are now learning from home. And he's also learning about hand washing and the virus. Can you please tell him what's happening to other children in other countries around the world?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And in Khmer, their language is Som Makun. And it's heartwarming to hear people ask about the well-being of others around the world. Fortunately, children are generally not infected by COVID-19, although there have been a few cases among children, and unfortunately, some children have died. But even if you don't get sick, you can help to protect others by washing your hands and doing the other things we have discussed. Thank you, and Som Hakun, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and to Layla, and to Noah, and to Muna as well, and to Louise in France, and for all your wonderful questions. And our deepest thanks, Dr. Tedros, for taking the time to answer those questions and to go through it. We hugely appreciate it. And Dr. Tedros, we can, at the end of the broadcast, we'll come back to you for a final word to the Global Classroom as well. Right now, I can now hand back over to my good friend, Lord Michael Hastings of Scarisbrick, back over in London.
Thank you very much indeed, Jeff. And we've heard from Dr. Tedros and Henrietta quite a lot about staying healthy. And there couldn't be anyone better than Samuel Etty who can talk us through how to have a healthy mind and a healthy body. So let me go to Samuel and ask you a couple of questions.
Samuel,
as a great sportsman, how do you keep your mind positive when there is no sport happening in the world?
Le fait que les compétitions n'ont pas lieu.
The fact that competitions are not taking place at the moment doesn't prevent us from playing sport and staying positive. I go running for about an hour each day, which allows me to keep in shape. And I'd like to just take this chance to say hello to everyone here.
Thank you so much, Simon. Well, I think you're probably going to demonstrate for us an exercise which anyone can do, and those of us in the global classroom should also do. How would you show us how to stay healthy?
Bien évidemment, mais avant de faire de l'exercice, il faut préparer son corps.
Of course, before exercising, you must make sure you prepare your body by doing some stretches.
Je peux faire ceci pour me tirer. Si j'ai passé une longue journée, préparer mon corps.
And then you can do all of these exercises quite easily, even singing as you go.
Et ils seront très à l'aise et très contents à la fin de l'exercice.
Well, you've got me lined up to do my exercises a little bit later. I'll kind of learn to stretch out in the course of the evening. Thank you for that. That's really great. Now, a lot of the young people have been saying that, of course, it's easy at the moment to be bored at home. It's a bit of a lockdown situation, but how do you keep yourself motivated when you're inside?
Je me dis qu'il y aura des jours meilleurs. Il faut bien.
I tell myself that there will be better days. We've got to have faith that this world has better days in store for us. There will be better days.
Thank you for that. And just lastly, Samuel, all our global learners want to achieve high and fulfill their dreams. So what advice would you give them to fulfill their dreams and stay focused?
La toute première chose est de croire en soi-même.
The very first thing is to believe in yourself. Those who believe in themselves have already walked 50% of the way. The other 50% is to give yourself the means. That is to find the opportunities you want to have and to become better in what you do.
Samuel, thank you very much. Well, we're now going to let you go off and exercise and show us all how life has got to stay healthy. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us. And I hand back now to Jeff Shaw.
Now, thank you very much, Michael, and I can see your exercises there going extremely well and working behind that. I think I'm probably not quite as fit as Samuel, but très bien, Samuel. Merci beaucoup for that. It's wonderful to share those thoughts of what we're doing as well. I'm going to make sure if our next guest is ready to come through right now. I'd like to welcome, if I can do, into the Global Classroom, a very special guest for us, certainly, and that is His Royal Highness Prince Khalid. He is president of the Saudi Sports for All Federation, and I'm absolutely really delighted to have you here to talk about some really exciting questions been sent through. So Prince Khalid, welcome to the Global Classroom. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, especially amongst these distinguished guests over here, from Dr. Tedros to A2 to everyone else.
That's wonderful. And we're going to be on the spot right now. We've had quite a few questions sent in from you, from the global learners. And particularly 3 questions have come out of being very, very strong. Quite a few of our learners around the globe, about 14,000 logged in right now. Many have said to you, Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you very much. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone also.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that from yourself. Thank you very much. So the first question is a really interesting one. Okay. Now, the students around the world, we have many of them in the global classroom who are celebrating the holy month of Ramadan at home. And that's difficult in a lockdown situation. Can you share some advice on how they can stay fit and healthy throughout this time?
Oh, yes. At the Sports for All Federation, for example, we have a bunch of programs that we just enrolled online to get people more active, especially with the lockdown happening in Saudi Arabia. At least it was a 24-hour lockdown not too long ago. So we have exercise videos, online trainers who are really pushing people to get really active and get people moving in their homes. We've got a bunch of activities that people do. Whether it's they can read a book, for example, and for every special chosen word, whoever the word lands on can do like 10 or 20 jumping jacks. They can do freeze dance, where you have music playing and they can dance and play around as kids, and if the music stops, they have to freeze, and whoever freezes last, for example, does, I don't know, 10 push-ups or something. So it's really a way to get people not necessarily exercising, but it's really a way to get people moving in a more creative way.
Thank you very much. I think the message there of staying healthy, staying fit is such an important one, isn't it? And keeping our body and our minds healthy, key aspects of what we're saying today through all of our guest messages coming through. So that was really wonderful. Thank you. And I'm trying to imagine all the games playing at home to stay fit with my children as well, and take that on board. Some great advice. And we all know that perhaps the environmental impact has been a really positive one from the lockdown around the world. And I know in our second series on the Global Classroom, we're coming to look at the idea of one global planet. And I think there'll be some interesting reaction from that. Now, our second question is a good one for you, certainly. One of our pupils has written into me asking the question to pose to you, which says, they want your advice about healthy eating. They're from a family themselves who eats quite a lot of red meats as well, and they want your advice on how to successfully reduce this and bring in more fresh vegetables and fruits into their diet.
So let's start by saying the obvious. Meat is not necessarily, well, it's just not a staple in when it comes to nutrition. So you can always get whatever you get from meat through all sorts of food. And what I like to think of it is like, I'd love for people to think about eating the rainbow. So eating all sorts of colorful fruits and vegetables, legumes, rice, beans, nuts, seeds, all sorts of the abundance that nature and God gave us isn't necessarily limited to animal flesh. One of the most important things that the World Health Organization even categorized red meat as a class carcinogen for humans in Group 1, and that's the real issue for people to really need to understand, because just lessen the amount of meat that you eat in a week is going to take you a really long way.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. I love the ideas of eating the rainbow and the facts behind that as well, and staying fit and healthy. And it's a real challenge to some people. So wonderful advice, and it's so passionate as well about what you're saying. The next question is a deeper one in some ways. The COVID-19 situation has caused many problems, and we recognise that, but also allowed us a chance and opportunity to reflect on our routines, as you mentioned about perhaps diet and lifestyle choices. What do you hope will be the positive outcomes for your own country and the rest of the world as well?
That's a beautiful question. And from my humble point of view, it all boils down to one thing: it's decisions. What decisions can we make to really, as a nation or even as an individual, to consciously make an effort for these issues not to happen again? Where we source our foods is a key contributor. I keep hearing this phrase, when are things going to go back to normal? The last thing we need is for us to go back to normal. I mean, everyone just needs to wake up for a second and really think about what the word normal means. Normal got us to where we're here, to where we're at right now, and we need to focus on the fact that there are a lot of scary diseases out there that are zoonotic diseases. About 60% of them exist right now through animals. The fact of the matter is, the way we treat animals is coming back to haunt us as we speak right now. So whether it's mad cow, bird flu, salmonella, E. coli, MERS, swine flu, or COVID-19, we have to understand that there is a better way to source food right now. I'd love to, for the kids out there, because at the end of the day, you guys are the future. You guys need to stand up and understand that this issue right now is a real issue and it will affect you. It won't affect me at the end of the day. It won't affect anyone else. It won't affect my father or grandfather. It's going to, God rest his soul, it's going to affect you and your children. And this is why you need to stay informed. Just a quick statistic, if you don't mind. Do you know that a quarter pounder or a hamburger takes about 600 gallons of water to produce? And let me give you a perspective what that means. That's about 35 showers if you factor in taking 8-minute showers of wasting water. It's insane. The fact of the matter is, we are interconnected here. We have to treat this environment, we have to treat our world in the respect that it deserves, or else it's going to come back and bite us. And this is exactly what it's doing. We're in timeout. It's told us to stay in our rooms and think about what we've done. I hope that we learn from this long timeout.
Well, thank you very much for that. Very passionate and very engaging. I think your message there about taking stock, thinking about where we are right now, using the lockdown as a way of positively reflecting how we can change, and perhaps saying that we are all now interconnected via a global classroom, but saying, okay, across the world, why don't we all think about this? Why don't we just press pause, stop for a second, and assess the way forward? And actually, you're absolutely right. It's the children tuning in here that have got an amazing opportunity to come together and to unify and to work with that. Such a powerful message. Thank you very much for that. Your Royal Highness, thank you for joining us in the Global Classroom.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you'll be involved in further sessions coming forward that we have as well. So thank you very much for being here.
Would love to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, we're coming towards the end of our time right now, and it's been a wonderful session. I've got to do huge thanks to Henrietta Ford, Dr. Ted Ross, Samuel Etu, His Royal Highness Prince Khalid, but actually all of our pupils that have been here as well and what they've done. But and our intention to come back to you in June with an enormous session about, one global planet, about how we manage that, how we go through that. But I want to hand over now to close this session with Dr. Ted Ross and to lead us out with our final words. Dr. Ted Ross, are you still there?
Jeff, I'm here listening, and thank you so much. This is a wonderful initiative, and UNICEF and WHO and others in the UN system will continue to support efforts like this to connect with children and people all over the world. Keep using your voices to tell us what we're doing right and what we need to do better. Together we can build a better world. We know staying at home is difficult and can get boring, but I know it's not going to last. Your lives have been changed in many ways, but please know that this is a short term. In the meantime, we can all keep trying to do our best to find things we can enjoy, like reading a book, playing games, or listening to music. You can do individual sports like jogging, walking, dancing, or yoga. If you have access to the internet, you can also join in online active games or fitness classes, or step up your own online physical exercises with your friends and classmates. Find an activity that's fun and safe. Stay strong, stay informed, and stay safe. Thank you so much again.